Hey everybody, this is Andre here with the Kevin Breeze channel, and in this video, we're going to be doing a comparison between the BLU G91 and the Samsung Galaxy A12. Let's get started. So the BLU G91 has a 6.5-inch LCD display with a resolution of 720p, a PPI of 270, an aspect ratio of 20:9, and a screen-to-body ratio of 91%. We got a hole punch here for the front-facing camera that looks really good, and this camera is 16 megapixels. The Samsung Galaxy A12 has a 6.5-inch PLS IPS LCD display with a resolution of 720p, a PPI of 264, an aspect ratio of 20:9, and a screen-to-body ratio of 85.5%. We got a water drop notch right here for the front-facing camera, and this camera is 8 megapixels. So the BLU G91 definitely has the better looking design of these two. It's so sleek looking with a screen to body ratio of 91%. The bezels are so small, the screen takes up almost the entire phone. I really like this material on the back. The color looks really nice and it feels interesting too. And the hole punch front facing camera really helps with the look. It makes it look a lot more sleek and modern. So overall, in general, I really do like this design. The Samsung Galaxy A12, on the other hand, doesn't look bad. It's just pretty mediocre. There's nothing really special about it. It looks like the average entry-level smartphone that you would see in 2021. So really nothing bad there, but also nothing too great either. The BLU G91 has 128 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD expansion, and the Samsung Galaxy has 64 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD card expansion. So you can see the difference here. The BLU G91 has double the internal storage. And this is pretty impressive and kind of surprising for phones at this level. Usually a phone with 128 gigabytes of internal storage is gonna be a little bit higher end than this one. So that came as a pleasant surprise. With everything getting larger and larger from apps to the system itself, it's really important to have as much storage as you can get. So this is really nice to see both of these phones having a decent amount of storage. It's just the BLU G91, as far as storage goes, is such a good deal. With 128 gigabytes, you're most likely not even gonna have to touch a microSD card unless you're doing something that's really involved and takes up a lot of space, or if you have a lot of photos and videos, that sort of thing. Either way, storage-wise, both of these phones are great, but the BLU G91 definitely has a clear edge here. Neither of these phones have wireless charging, but both of them have not only face unlock, but also fingerprint scanners. The BLU G91 has a fingerprint scanner right here on the back, and the Samsung Galaxy A12 has the fingerprint scanner right here on the power button. Now, this is a situation where I do think the Samsung Galaxy A12 has an advantage because you really can't beat a fingerprint scanner on the power button. By default, a lot of phones don't even wake up when you tap the screen, so you're most likely gonna have to touch the power button anyway, and having it read your finger at the same time and just unlocking the phone is just so much better. But we're gonna test out these fingerprint scanners and see how they perform. So we're gonna start with the BLU G91. One more time. So that was really fast and responsive. I have no complaints about that. I really do like this little indentation right here. Some of the phones just have the scanner there and you have to kind of guess where your finger is supposed to go. But with this, you don't even need to look and it's just so much better. Now we're gonna test out the scanner for the Samsung Galaxy A12. One more time. So the Samsung Galaxy A12 is definitely going to be the winner as far as fingerprint scanners go. Both of them have great security features like face unlock and fingerprint scanners, but the Samsung Galaxy A12 with the fingerprint scanner not only being right here on the power button, but also being so much faster, is so much more convenient to unlock, and it really has an edge over most phones out there. So for our camera setups here, the BLU G91 has a 16 megapixel rear camera, a 5 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. The Samsung Galaxy A12 has a 48 megapixel rear camera, a 5 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. So really the only difference on paper at least is in the regular rear camera. They have pretty much the same features otherwise. So these pictures were taken by the rear camera of each phone. I really do think both of them are super high quality. The BLU G91 really impressed me. I wasn't expecting it to be this good, but it actually did end up being really high quality. And of course the Samsung Galaxy A12, being a Samsung phone, most Samsungs do have great cameras, so that wasn't really very surprising. I think both of them really look pretty much the same. I don't think one is better than the other. The only thing contributing to which one is brighter or which one isn't is more or less the angle as opposed to the actual quality of the camera itself. These are the ultra-wide pictures of each phone. Now you can definitely tell here, the BLU G91 does have a slightly dimmer ultra-wide camera than the Samsung Galaxy A12, and the Samsung Galaxy A12 at the same time doesn't have quite as detailed of a picture as the BLU G91. So there is that trade-off there. Now both of these phones shoot video in quality up to 1080p in both the rear and the front cameras. And the same difference between the regular photos is most likely going to apply to videos as well. There's really not that much of a difference. Maybe the BLU G91 has a slightly less bright picture than the Samsung Galaxy A12. But other than that, the colors are both really similar looking. The quality is pretty much the same. So I don't really think one has a clear advantage over the other as far as the camera goes. Now internally, the BLU G91 is getting 4 GB of RAM with the MediaTek Helio A25 processor, and the Samsung Galaxy A12 is also getting 4 GB of RAM with the MediaTek Helio P35 processor. We ran Geekbench 5 benchmark tests on both of these phones, and the BLU G91 came back with a single core score of 140 and a multi-core score of 861, and the Samsung Galaxy A12 came back with a single core score of 169 and a multi-core score of 965. So these are pretty close, but the Samsung Galaxy A12 is going to be the faster device. It's going to be able to handle everything a little bit better. I wouldn't necessarily say there's enough of a difference for one phone to be able to do some stuff and the other one wouldn't. I don't think the Samsung Galaxy A12 is really out of the same range as the BLU G91. I think they're both going to be able to do pretty much the same range of things, which is really going to be basic phone activities, web browsing, content consumption, social media, all the way up to photo and video editing. If you try to do gaming, that might work for certain games that aren't really that intensive. There are lots of games that are meant for lower level phones, but something with super complicated graphics is not going to be ideal for these devices. You're going to want to keep it to a reasonable level because even though these numbers are decent, they're really not high performance devices. They're still entry level, just getting into the mid range. So while these are decently powerful devices, I wouldn't expect too much from them. Now these phones have pretty much the same battery with a 5000 milliamp hour battery. You're going to get a lot of life out of them. Not only is each charge going to last a long time, but as the batteries degrade over time, they're going to be a lot more resilient and you're not going to notice it starting to die out faster as quickly as you would with, say, an iPhone that has a much smaller battery than this. Now, in conclusion, which one of these devices is better? Now, this is a really close one. There are two different areas where these phones are significantly different that might help your decision. So the first difference is the storage. The BLU G91 is definitely ahead of the Samsung Galaxy A12 here. It has double the storage, so that's not just a few gigs more, it's double. 128 gigabytes of internal storage versus 64. Definitely something to think about. If you use a lot of space, or if you like to have lots of free space, whatever the case may be, having more storage is usually going to be better. And the BLU G91 definitely makes this a reality because it has so much storage, you're probably not going to run out unless you're doing something crazy. But on the other hand, the Samsung Galaxy A12 does have a significantly faster processor, not really to the point where it makes it in a different league, but at the same time, if you're trying to do something a little bit more intensive like photo editing or editing a video, or if you're doing a lot of content consumption and web browsing, then I could see why you would want a little bit of a faster processor. Really, if you want a much faster processor, then I would suggest looking at different devices. But the difference between the BLU G91 and the Samsung Galaxy A12 processor-wise is just enough to really warrant a decision to if that's more of an important feature to you. Other than that, these phones are almost the same. All their specs are really similar. There's really not a whole lot different between the two. I would say the display and the general appearance of the BLU G91 is a lot nicer than the Samsung Galaxy A12. With the hole punch front-facing camera, super small bezels, and just overall modern sleek design, I really do think the BLU G91 is a much better looking phone. The other thing that might offset that advantage is the location of each fingerprint scanner. This fingerprint scanner being on the back is okay, but having a fingerprint scanner right here on the power button in the case of the Samsung Galaxy A12 is so much better that the Samsung Galaxy A12 definitely has an advantage there. So really, at the end of the day, even though these differences are there, they're really small and both are great devices that I do think are worth looking into. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to learn more about these phones themselves, be sure to check out the reviews of the devices on the channel. And for more information about pricing and availability, that stuff is always changing, so definitely check the link in the description. And if you enjoyed the video, definitely leave a thumbs up and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video.